Hey everyone, welcome to our video series, Canal Days, and thanks for joining us for today's episode of the Pleasant Street Park located in Easthampton, Massachusetts. I'm your host, Carrie, here with my co-host, local historian and founder of Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Como. As your personal tour guide, Robert will lead you through some of the most iconic sites and the legends of historic significance throughout New England's preeminent and pivotal state of Massachusetts. With his expert insights, every monument and memorial story comes to life. Afterwards, don't forget to check out his website, holyokecanaltour.org, to access the full Canal Days video and podcast series. Also, check out his free in-person public tours he offers throughout Western Mass and the 2025 schedule for these special events. You can also book personalized private tours for groups of all sizes, tailored to your interests. To discover all that and much more, remember to log on to holyokecanaltour.org. So, Robert, what are the other parks in Easthampton?
I'll tell you about some of the other types. There's the nature parks. There's the parks up in the mountain ranges. There's pocket parks, and then there's really big parks. There's recreational parks. Easthampton has all type of them. And we're going to have a podcast that we're going to go through a lot of these. But let me tell you some of the ones that are out there. Pulaski Park, right in the middle of Easthampton. And it's a beautiful park. And it would have been called Easthampton Commons, but they named it after General Casimir Pulaski. All right, now baseball fields is Galbraith Field, owned by Williston Academy, and Daly Field, owned by Easthampton itself. In terms of recreational park associated with the rail trail, there's the Manhattan Rail Trail, and then alongside of it, there's Millside Park. Now, there's a couple parks associated with the former mill residential homes, worker homes, built by the mill company, especially the West Boylston Company. That's the Pleasant Street Park. And then the one that we just went through, which was the Parsons Street Park. So we did a couple today. All right, now there's ones out in nature like the Arcadia Wildlife Sanctuary, a private one. There's also Mount Tom Range. All right, but the best one of all, of course, is Nonotuck Park, which is very much probably Northampton's signature park itself. There's a couple pocket parks playing in Strong Street Playground and the Catherine Root Wayside Parks. There's some associated with a couple of schools that are left. All right, and there's a lot of recreational activities in Easthampton, including the Oxbow ramp. So there's a lot of cool things to do out there. And we're going to join this video and with a podcast where you get a lot more information for yourself. Now, the Pleasant Street Park is one associated with worker homes, and it was bought out by the city of Easthampton, turned into a playground and a lot of green. And it kind of fits in the environment. And Easthampton's good at that. When it's not nature, they fit it. When it's, and get this, when it's a cemetery, it fits it. Because the Brookside Cemetery is probably one of the better parks of Easthampton. Two edges of it aren't even put into a cemetery look yet. They look like they're just places, beautiful places along the National Warning. But people walk through as if it's a park, and it's supposed to, because a garden-style cemetery is a park-style cemetery. So, I'm glad you came along. We're on Pleasant Street in Easthampton, Massachusetts, across from the Eastworks Mill and the Keystone Mills. It's turned into retail places. We're going to enter into a very unique park because all the homes around it are homes that were made when the West Boylston Company was here, and they needed thousands of laborers. They built lots of worker homes around the area. They also built a green in the middle, and this has been turned into a city park, and this is a playground area. So today I'm going to talk about all the parks of Easthampton, and this is one of them now. And mostly it's for children, of course, but you can see park benches around so adults can come here and take a walk, or they can watch your kids. And it's become it was always a very popular park because there were so many worker homes around. But it's a little more popular because a lot of people come here for retail. And they know also that they have a place to bring their kids after shopping. And this is it. All right, so I'm going to compare and contrast this one to the other parks around Easthampton, so you can get I know about them, and so that comparison should be very nice. Thank you.
Welcome, everyone, and thanks for joining us for today's episode of Canal Days. As always, I'm your host, Carrie, along with my co-host, founder of Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Como. Our Canal Days series delves into the vast collection of historical sites throughout Massachusetts with Robert's expertise of the local history as our personal guide. Each episode, we uncover history throughout local communities, highlighting historic landmarks and remaining relics while uncovering their seminal significance. Today's episode of Canal Days will be learning about the parks of Easthampton, Massachusetts, and learning about the various types of parks throughout the town, such as athletic fields, recreational parks, and more. So let's begin today's episode of Canal Days. So, Robert, characterize the parks throughout Easthampton.
Well, there's some that are very much nature-based. There's some that are along rail trails. There's some that are mostly recreational. And there's some that are pocket parks. There's very few that are based upon school grounds, but there's a few schools that have tiny little playgrounds around them. The Easthampton also got an enormous park in the sense that they have the Mount Tom Range right along its edge. It's mostly cliffs along the Easthampton side, but on the Holyoke side, it's definitely a beautiful reservation park-like look. All right, so we're going to go through some of the parks today that are in this area, and we might as well just mention one that's very different, Arcadia Wildlife Sanctuary. That one is a park that is owned by National Audubon and Massachusetts Audubon, and it's a wildlife sanctuary in the sense that birds and other simple wildlife like to be there. They have a nice trail system where you can go explore, and they cater to young people very much with special classes for them.
And list the various athletic fields throughout the town.
There's Daly Field, 100 years old this year, in the year 2025, made 100 years ago. In 1935, they made an outdoor place for restrooms and supply hut that was made by WPA project, and that kind of structure was replicated also in the Brookside Cemetery. There's also the Galbraith Field, owned by the Wilson Academy, and they have their athletic fields there. And for recreation, there's also the Millside Park, where there is basketball courts alongside the Manhattan Rail Trail, which is itself, I consider just one long park from beginning to end. And other parks that are smaller and more around a playground kind of type. There also is the Pleasant Street Park, which is more a lot of play sets, right? But it's large enough you can actually throw a football around there, but there's no football field. So most of the fields, you're probably thinking of Daly Park in Galbraith.
And stick around and we'll be right back after this quick announcement. Are you fascinated by local history and eager to investigate the obscure treasures off the beaten path throughout the state of Massachusetts? or maybe just seeking an unforgettable cultural activity for family and friends to enjoy, look no further than Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, founded by Robert Camus. With over a decade of experience, Robert offers captivating tours and presentations of historic sites and landmarks throughout the state. Whether you're interested in canals, cemeteries, charming churches, or more, Robert's tours provide a unique and enriching experience for all. And that's not it. You can also schedule private tours tailored to your interests, ensuring a personalized adventure and unforgettable memories. Perfect for families or groups of all sizes, making for an exciting hands-on learning experience that brings history to life. Simply visit holyokecanaltour.org or email bobcat4214, capital B, @yahoo.com to book your private tour today. So getting back to our episode on the parks of Easthampton, Massachusetts, detail which parks are considered recreational and what defines them as such.
Well, one park that definitely falls in there is Nonotuck Park, probably the largest city-owned park in Easthampton. It has outdoor pavilions for outdoor barbecues and picnics, a lot of picnic tables, but it also has volleyball courts and basketball courts and many trails on all different sides of it. It's right alongside a brook, so it looks very natural. Has extensions out to the middle school, so forth. So Nonotuck Field definitely is that way. Also, in a recreational sense, is the Manhattan Rail Trail, and that one there has I think it's 6 miles worth of trails, so you can walk, run, or bike along its length. And the whole way you can learn about history too. I hope to have a historical tour along there. The Parsons Street Park has a play set that's very small, and I wish that Easthampton would build up a place just for children. I know that Easthampton Center is very small, so there's no great need to have these kind of parks around when you have them around Nonotuck so much, but little pocket parks with playground sets would be great.
And educate us on which parks do not fit into a specific category.
All right, the ones I didn't mention, Pulaski Park, that's kind of the commons area of Easthampton, and there you have, for instance, Temperance Fountain. You also have a Pulaski stone that is a monument to him. And this is surrounded by very old buildings important to the history of Easthampton, such as its former town hall. Other parks that I have mentioned along the way, the Oxbow Ramp, where you get a great put off into either the Oxbow or the Connecticut River itself. Then there's the Catherine Root Wayside Park, which is a pocket park along Florence Street. And there is the Plain and Strong Street Playground, which is kind of like a pocket park also. Very similar to the Parsons Street Park. So you'll get a eclectic variety of parks inside of Easthampton, all over the place with something to do for everyone. Arcadia, Mount Tom, Nonotuck, and even in the Millside Park. They're all there for a given reason. It's drastically different from the other reasons. So they really put in a lot of different parks for that different kind of person. And since Easthampton is so compact, it really works out. So I hope you visit all these parks like I have and learn about them.
And thank you for tuning in to our Canal Series episode of the Parks of Easthampton and joining us on our journey through the rich history of the Connecticut River Valley. We hope you enjoyed uncovering some of the hidden and overlooked marvels and their fascinating stories that shaped our past in the state of Massachusetts. A special thanks to Robert Camus, founder of Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, for sharing his passion and expertise with us. Remember, you can find more information about Robert's tours, both private tours, and explore the Canal Days video and podcast series at holyokecanaltour.org. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, comment, and share. We'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions for future episodes. And don't forget to keep exploring and discovering history that is hidden in plain sight all around us. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to tune into our next episode of Canal Days and log on to holyokecanaltour.org.